Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm Brandon, I'm a guy who flies, and I am here with my recap of the finale, episode 8 of HBO Max's The Flight Attendant. Can I believe we've made it to the end, you all? Cannot believe we've made it to the end. And in honor of all of the Flight Attendant content we got, I thought I might just don the uniform myself today. So here we go. Let's get into it.
Fly. Hey player, what you gonna get for Christmas? Yeah. What you gonna get that boy? Come on, what you gonna...
So they titled this episode Arrivals and Departures, and I'm titling it On the Run, okay? We will get to that. So episode opens with Miranda, her and Cassie, if you remember. She and Cassie were trying to figure out what the plan is going to be. So they're like in a car on the way somewhere. I guess they call themselves an Uber XL. And Miranda calls an associate who, to try to help her kind of like, you know, get out of this mess or whatever. And she knows that the associate gave her over to Victor, and so now she wants the person to tell her. The person actually offers to tell her where Victor is. And so Miranda gets out because now she's like, I have to go kill Victor. We go to the FBI. The FBI like, yes, the prints has come back. The prints on the bottle match Cassie Bowden's fingerprints. And they also find out that the agent that they were looking for has been found dead. So that is a good piece of news for them and also a bad piece of news. And I'm just like, dang, he dead. But y'all don't find that suspicious at all? Okay. So we on the plane. Finally, we back to, you know, flight attendant, you know, content or whatever. Cassie confronts Megan because Megan is just like tense and she is just off her game. I'm like, boy, have the tables turned, because this is not what we saw of them when they were at work. It was the complete opposite, you know. Megan was the one with her stuff together. Cassie was the one who was off the rockers. Anyway, they have a moment. Jada checks them. She's like, get it together. We're boarding or whatever. And Alex in her head and Cassie have a moment, and he's like, yo, Miranda actually like might be dead. You don't even know that. We see this scene of Cassie during boarding. She like keeps checking the seat that Miranda's supposed to be in because, you know, they have this elaborate plan. Flip back to Miranda. She has found Victor. She kills Victor's bodyguard driver. I don't know. And then basically her and Victor have it out and she kills Victor. And then she drives, but before she kills him, he shoots her in the thigh. And so now she's injured. And I'm like, great. She's supposed to be on the plane. So she takes the car, drives to the airport. On the plane, they're still boarding. Cassie and Shane finally have some dialogue. And if you haven't realized, they haven't actually talked in like a couple days. Well, episodes, but I think each episode's been like a day. They haven't talked in a while. So they kind of have a talk and they kind of make up, especially because of the fact that he's like, you know, not really talking to you, left me with Megan and Jada, and they're not the funnest people to fly with. So there's that. So they're cool. They're back on good terms. Miranda makes it to the airport, but now, you know, her leg is bleeding and she's drawing attention to herself. She doesn't make the flight. So now I'm like, great. So if Miranda's not on the flight, like, how are we going to do this plan? So, you know, now Cassie's like, let's figure this out. They fly away. Our girl Annie comes through and delivers a package and the flash drive to the FBI like, bam, this is all you need. A bunch of other information that will totally point this entire case away from my good friend Cassie. That's what I want. She and Officer Hammond, I think her name is Kim, I don't know. The lady FBI agent, the woman FBI agent, they start working together and basically they figure out the Buckley connection. So now they know that, okay, we know who Buckley is and what his role has been in the killing of Alex and in basically the stalking of Cassie. So the flight arrives, the crew gets off, I'm like, where's Cassie at? Then Cassie's come right up the rail and I'm like, girl, this is not the time to be by yourself. She comes off of the jet bridge and who's standing in the terminal in the gate area other than Buckley? And I'm like, great, nobody's around and here she is with the man who's she knows is here to kill her. So now I'm like, well, this happened really fast. I guess she's going to die before she leaves the airport. But no, she fakes like he's attacking her to draw some attention. People come, Megan helps her. They go off. Next thing we see, Miranda's on the next flight. Because you know what? Do you know what? Miranda is a what? A bad. We've already established that. Miranda's on the next flight. Somebody tries to make small talk with her and Miranda's funny. Not like Cassie's humor. It's a different type of dry humor, but it's humor nonetheless. I like Miranda's humor because the God is like, you know, are you going for business or pleasure? She's like,
I'm going to save the life of a woman who I've actually grown quite fond to, and I don't know why, because I've never done anything selfless like this in my life.
yo, it was funny. It was a funny piece of dialogue, but I'm like, Team Miranda at this point. You know, for the longest time, like, she's going around killing everybody. She's chasing my girl. We don't like her. Lady, remember I was calling her Lady in the Black? Get to the hotel, and everyone's checked in. Cassie visits Megan's room. And, you know, our girl Cassie, she's turned a new leaf. She tells the truth. She's like, look.
I slept with him. I woke up the next morning. He was dead in Bangkok.
Megan's like, oh my God. And then she turns around and tells Megan the truth. Like,
I've been passing out proprietary information to Northern Korea.
And then she just kind of goes into this other monologue about just being this middle-aged woman and not really having friends and kind of being lost in life and finally being excited to be included in something. And it was really sad. But I was like, dang, Megan, you really in this deep. So she was like, the whole reason why I was concerned with the FBI with you because I thought they were looking for me. If you know, you know. Annie's still with Officer Agent Hammond at the FBI, and they are a duo, and they are just putting the things together. And I'm like, I hope they can offer my girl a job because she's actually kind of good at this, okay? You know why we saying what we saying. FBI, hook my girl Annie up. We see Cassie, she's out in Rome alone, like, my God. But she's out. She goes to the restaurant to visit her friend, you know, homeboy's bartender boyfriend. That's what I think I called him when we met him the first time. She goes to him and she's basically like, hey, I need a gun. Miranda makes it to the hotel and gets her key because, again, she's a what? A bad. And she's following the plan. Who is in the lobby waiting other than Mr. Buckley, a.k.a. Felix, a.k.a. the dude we don't like. So before the elevator can close with her going up, he goes in. And next thing we know, we get this entire fight sequence, this knife fight in the elevator. And I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God. Because, you know, Miranda, she bowed it. But he also bowed it. And he ends up, like, disarming her. And then he knocks her out. And I'm like, great, now. Now he got the upper advantage. And Cassie just in the dark. She don't even know where Miranda at, if she's here or anything like that. But our girl Cassie, she's with a boyfriend bartender. They're on a moped scooter. And they're just adventuring across Rome. And basically end up at his grandma's house because he's trying to get his deceased grandfather's gun. Cassie is outside. She has a conversation with the grandmother and realizes some things because, you know, old people, wisdom, it is what it is. And then she has these flashbacks of like these just drinking things. So she had her whole little tote bag full of the minis and she had started drinking one, but then she started pulling them out one by one. And as she was pulling them out, she was having flashbacks of like her drinking with her dad and when she got in that accident, and her drinking when she was with Buckley, and her drinking, just all these different scenes where the drinking has just really clouded her judgment. Her drinking when she was at the aquarium and lost her nieces. And, you know, it really just was like a wake-up call. If she hadn't had one, it was a second or third or fourth wake-up call for her, which, you know, I think was warranted. So there was that. We got this really intense flashback where current Cassie revisits the crash scene of her father where he died, and she now accepts the fact that she cannot carry the pain or the hurt or the blame for that situation, and she tells that basically to her younger self, kind of freeing her of that guilt and carrying that burden. And I was like, oh, this is kind of deep. But in the end, old dude gets the gun and she leaves the alcohol there, like on the ledge. Like, and I'm like, oh my God, are we not drinking anymore? Like, cold turkey, just done. And so, TBD. While they're fool-la-la in Rome, also on the other side of Rome, we see Jada and Shane walking up the sidewalk, and they see Megan hopping in a taxi with all her bags. And I'm like, she out of here. Megan know what's up, and she is out of here, okay? Do you hear me? She already had made her plan. Like, mama is escaping. We got another scene with Alex in her head and Cassie because, you know, now she's coming back with the gun, and she's now in this clearer state, and it's not so panicked and it's not so clouded, you know, by alcohol. And so she is talking to Alex with the with the throat slit and barely breathing, dying. And she's like, no, I don't want to remember you that way. And so she like grieves, and then she sees him in a better light, and she confesses her love for him. And it's just, it's lovey-dovey, it's cute, whatever. She loved him. I've been said that a long time ago that they had a thing. They had a connection. So anyway, bartender boyfriend and Cassie make it back to the hotel room, and I'm like, this is when you about to get a text. They go into the room. She sends him away to go get her a coffee downstairs with the room key, and she's just in the room by herself. Flip back to the FBI. The FBI has finally put it together that Buckley was on the flight with Cassie, just like he was on the flight with Alex Sokolov, 3C. The FBI figured that out. We're gonna hear about it again, but the FBI figured that out. So then they got on the phone and they start calling people, and I'm like, great. Call the people in the rooms and let them know that our girl Cassie is in danger. We need some help, okay? I don't know who's coming, but we're gonna need some help. And I'm like, this is going way too good. So, you know, we flip back to the hotel room, and I'm like, y'all didn't even check under the beds, behind the curtains, like in the closet. Y'all just came in the room and just turned on the light and was like, nobody's in here, it's safe. The dude looked in the bathroom, and I'm like, okay, he's not a flight attendant. He don't know how to check a hotel room. Anyway, she's standing in the bathroom. She sees something black out of the corner of her eye in the bathtub. You know, bathtub white, shower curtain white, surround. Shouldn't be anything black in there, okay? She pulls the curtain, sees a knocked out Miranda. And who else is in the bathtub? Buckley. So now we got this fight scene between Cassie and Buckley, and he's doing this. But you know, he's doing too much talking. That's how you know when somebody's gonna die, when they do too much talking. So he's talking about how easy it was to track her. He basically said how he was everywhere. Like and we see this flashback sequence of he has been following her since she lost the ID in Bangkok. I mean, he was following her on a date with 3C. You know, he was the one that delivered the drinks in the hotel room. He was watching her just everywhere. Like anytime when he texted her, he was near her watching. He was like 10 feet away, like stalking her. Like it was just eerie how close he was to her. They're going back and forth, and they're fighting, 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 and they're fighting. Bartender boyfriend comes back in the room. He's no good. God, you already know Buckley can kill him. And I'm like, Cassie girl, why don't you go to the gun? Like, the gun is right there. Get the gun. Get the gun. Get the gun. Like, okay. He ends up stabbing bartender boyfriend, and then, you know, he goes into more talking and then strangling her, and then she stabs him, and then she finally gets the gun, and he's like, you're just a flight attendant, you some dumb flights, and you ain't gonna shoot me. But we already know when she was younger, she was out there hunting with her dad, so this ain't the first time she operated a gun. So she shoots him in the leg, bam, okay, he down, good. Next thing you know, boom, who busts through the door? Shane, gun, bam, like, Shane? So, Buckley's down. So we're outside, you know, police is there, the ambulance is there, Cassie's out at the ambulance, you know, you gotta look you over and all that kind of stuff. And we see them pull out bartender boyfriend on the stretcher. He's alive, so he waves at her, so he's not dead. Thankfully, she don't have to carry the guilt of having somebody else almost killed, because, you know, she be pulling people into stuff. Shane comes sit down beside her, and she's like, what the fuck? Like, how do you have your own gun? And I had to go all over Italy and take somebody's dead grandfather's gun or whatever. They see Buckley come out on a stretcher, and he is still alive, and I'm like, great. And so Shane explains to her, like, I am with the CIA, and they placed me at Imperial Atlantic to track Megan. Told y'all, that girl Megan, she was like, something ain't right. Something ain't right. I think they're after me. I think they know too much. She was on to something. So of course, Cassie's just like, oh. They're tracking Megan. Megan's on the run. And she was like, oh my gosh, what about Miranda? She was upstairs and, you know, in the tub or whatever. And he was like, no, there's no Miranda. And why? Because our Miranda is a what? A bad okay? And she was not about to get caught up with the police. You know, she don't do much. She can't do that. No. So Miranda is MIA. Homegirl is out. Flip to it. Megan rolled up at the train with her luggage. She calls home. Her son answered the phone in the middle of the day. So basically he stayed at home because his dad, you know, the dad is just freaking out because now his job is in jeopardy because they think that he's done all this stuff and it's all sad. And she's like barely keeping it together on the phone with her son. She's like, Tell your dad to check the ceramic turkey. It has, you know, something in there that'll help him with his little problem. And the son goes, and, you know, it's a note and a flash drive and some money and all this stuff. So she leaves a note and says she's going to fix it. So there's that. Megan's off in the wind. Cassie gets home. She walks off the plane at JFK, and her brother Davey is there waiting for her. He's like, look, I just had to roll up on you and help you. So I'm just like, oh. If there was a song that needed to play at that moment, it was I Can See Clearly Now. The rain is gone. The drinks are gone. Cassie and Annie meet at a diner. I guess it's been like some days at this point. It's not this, I thought it was the same day, but it's been like some days. Annie tells us that Max is okay. Cassie's not responsible for that death. She just had to carry that burden. And he's, you know, tells us things, celebrate, And Cassie tells us that she is in a program, and, you know, she is trying not to drink. Okay, she's not drinking, but she's trying not to drink, which progress. She was able to keep her job thanks to the FBI and working out some things. We know our girl Annie is still unemployed. So when Cassie goes to reach in her jacket to pull out, I guess her wallet to pay for, you know, their stuff at the diner, the book is in there. The book that Miranda got back from Victor that has the code to all of that money, you know, that Alex, you know, put away off to the side. Cassie opens the book and it's a note. We already obviously know the note is from Miranda. She's like, hey, so yeah, I ripped the page out. I took the money. I thought you should have the book. See you soon. And Cassie goes outside like she's gonna see her. Like, girl, no, you're not gonna see Miranda. She's just not gonna be outside waiting for you like that. You know, you gotta know Miranda better than that. That's where the miniseries ended. Talk about wrapping up all of these storylines in one episode. It did feel a little rushed. Not like super rushed, like some things got left out, but just like some things that were underdeveloped in certain parts of the show did seem like they were just like, all right, here you are. Obviously, the Megan story is one that could continue should they, you know, get extended to be able to do more episodes. The Miranda story, the Miranda-Cassie relationship could get extended. Shane told Cassie that boss might be calling her to be a part of some program, and so that might be a way to extend her storyline if she were to get involved with the CIA as a flight attendant or whatever. All I got to say is I enjoyed it. You know, I would thumbs up, you know, the flight attendant. I'm ready to take a break from doing these reviews and just get back to regular just watching and enjoying shows. I will say my number one takeaway is for all you flight attendants out here who be hip to that, you know, jump seat gossip, you better be careful because the person beside you might be working for the CIA. Luckily, I ain't one of the people that tell my business. Now, don't y'all be out there thinking I work for the CIA. However, CIA, if y'all watch this video, y'all can call me. I'm Brandon, I'm a guy who flies, and I'll see you all next time.